In the Championship, we have a wide range of managers, some very good and some not so good. In this video, we are going to be ranking every single Championship club's manager or their most recent manager and ranking them whether I would take them at my club. Now, I'm a QPR fan, so we're ranking them on if I would take them at QPR. So the bottom tier is stay away. Then we have meh, which means we'll be okay with them. Then we've got would be happy with, and then we've got what a gaffer gets him in. Also, as well, if you're a Championship fan, please do hit subscribe on this channel. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. If you wouldn't mind taking 1 second out of your day to hit subscribe on this channel, as I say, I do daily Championship content. So if you're interested in the Championship and the EFL, please hit subscribe on this channel. It'll be very greatly appreciated. So let's jump straight into it. And West Brom don't actually currently have a manager. Also, as well, actually, we should just mention, we've put the 3 promoted teams to the Premier League in just because they were in the Championship this season. We've also got the newly promoted teams in Wrexham and Birmingham. I can't get rid of Stockport from this filter, so we're gonna include Stockport. You never know, they might actually get promoted from League 2. They're currently drawing in the first leg of their playoffs, so that's the context behind these managers. We're going to be talking about all these managers in this video. Now, West Brom, of course, don't currently have a manager. We'll go for Tony Mowbray because he's their most recent manager, and I'm going to have to put him in. I think staying away is a little bit harsh on Tony Mowbray. So we're going to go for meh. I'd be very much meh. Slightly to the disappointed side, but I think it's a bit too critical to say stay away from my football club because I don't think Tony Mowbray is actually that bad a manager at all. It didn't work out at West Brom at all. That's not to say he's a bad manager. He did well at Blackburn and he did well at Sunderland as well. Got them to the playoffs as well. So I think Tony Mowbray is a decent enough manager. But right now, I'd just be very meh if he got appointed at QPR. Also with QPR as well, we got Marty Cifuentes. We don't know what's going on with him. He might be leaving. He's on gardening leave. I think he is still weeks later. I don't know what's going on with that situation. So it might actually be quite valid for QPR fans anyway in terms of who we'd want. Now we'll go for Watford again. Currently managerless. Unbelievable the fact that they sacked Tom Cleverley. But we're going to of course talk about Tom Cleverley. And I would actually be pretty happy if we appointed Tom Cleverley. I wouldn't say what a gaffer get him in just yet. Just due to the fact that, he's only been managing about a season and a bit at Watford. Done a fantastic job, don't get me wrong. Got a really good connection with the Watford fan base. Definitely shouldn't have been sacked from the Watford job. You've just got to think, he's still relatively unproven. He's done a great job at Watford. His season was unbelievable. He's not 100% like, I know he's a proven manager. I know he's going to do absolutely incredible at QPR. But he's a manager who's got huge potential. And I'd be very happy to be honest. I'd be very happy if QPR was to make an appointment like a Tom Cleverley. So Swansea, they have the Sheehan. Sheehan's their manager. And he's done very well since he's taken over. It's all a bit too soon. It's Swansea's first job. I've never heard of him in terms of management before. I don't know if it's his first managerial job for Sheehan, but he's done a fantastic job for Swansea. You could put him in, maybe would be happy, but I need to see more of him. So right now, it'd be a meh appointment. He's coming at Swansea, done a fantastic job. Obviously now got the job full time, and I'll be interested to see how he gets on. Right now, it'd be meh coming into a club like QPR, but fair play to him, doing a great job at Swansea right now. Now Reggie Labrie, I'm going to say what a gaffer get him in. Watch that first game in the playoffs. It was an absolute defensive masterclass from Sunderland. The way they defended their box, played on the counter-attack against Coventry. Fantastic performance from them. It doesn't matter about their poor form going into it. 5 losses in a row. Everybody talking like Sunderland's going to get absolutely smashed. And they absolutely prove everybody wrong. Get the result in the first leg against Coventry. Obviously, it's only half-time. But you take it all into consideration. Regis Labrie's done a fantastic job at Sunderland. They haven't been maybe as free-flowing and scored as many goals as what they maybe would have liked to. But you look at the overall job he's done. He's overperformed with that Sunderland side. And at QPR, I think we'd be pretty happy to say if we could appoint Regis Labrie as our manager. Obviously never going to happen, by the way. But it would be a great appointment if we could get somebody like that in. So, Stoke City, Mark Robbins, I'm going to say I would be happy with. Stoke have struggled this season, but Stoke is like an absolute penitentiary for managers. Literally every single manager, doesn't matter how good or bad of a manager you are prior to going into Stoke, it's just been an absolute disaster for every single manager. Mark Robbins came in and kept Stoke up, and if he first got sacked from the Coventry job, and QPR were appointing a new manager, I would have said a few months ago, go all out for Mark Robbins, and I'd be putting what a gaffer get him in. Now, of course, what he's done at Stoke it's not been a terrible job he's done. He's just not really done incredibly well either. He's done enough to keep them up. I'd be pretty happy with him if he got appointed as QPR manager right now. Danny Rohl, for me, I'd say what a gaffer get him in. The job that he's done under Chansiri's ownership is an absolute joke, considering how much of a joke that club is. Like, I could honestly see Sheffield Wednesday in the years to come completely something awful happening in terms of I don't want to say anything like too far in terms of like their existence, but Chansiri's that kind of guy that could drag something like that happening to Sheffield Wednesday. It wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. Danny Roll's papered over cracks at that club. He's got a very average squad. And he's pretty much guided them to. They never got relegated at any point during the season. And compared to the season that Sheffield Wednesday had last time in terms of the relegation battle all season, Danny Roll keeping them up, they would have taken a mid-table finish, and that's what they got. QPR, let's just say, I mean, for Marty Cifuentes, I think most Championship clubs, we'll say it from a Championship club's perspective, I think most Championship clubs would be happy with the appointment. Maybe for West Brom, you could even put him in meh, because, I mean, you look at him this season for QPR, he's not done the greatest of jobs. When you spent like £8 million, we've not really improved in terms of last season. In terms of points tally, we got the exact same points, and we were really hoping to push on a little bit this season. It's been a bit disappointing. It's been a mess season for QPR. So I'd still say Championship clubs should be happy with Martin Cifuentes if they had got him appointed, because look at the job that he did for us last season. It was a ridiculous job. We would have been relegated if it wasn't for Marty. We'd be sat in League One most likely right now. So he did a fantastic job last season. This season for us has been pretty average, you'd say. It's about where we'd expect it to be at the start of the season. So I'd still say Championship clubs will be pretty happy with Martin Cifuentes as manager. He's a progressive manager and he's got a lot of potential still to grow in the game, and he's a good manager in my opinion. So I would say for any Championship club, we'll be happy to appoint him. Of course, it depends on what kind of Championship club you are in terms of where you are in the league, I guess. But I still think Martin Cifuentes is a very good manager at Championship level. Now we're on to Preston North End, where we'll go. I don't want to say stay away for Heckingbottom, but if QPR appointed Paul Heckingbottom, I wouldn't be happy. I'm not going to lie. Like he's done an alright job at Preston. Obviously, he did well in the FA Cup. He almost got him relegated in all fairness, but I think Preston were on the beach at the end of the season. We need to judge Heckingbottom properly on his job at Preston next season, I think. But in terms of appointment for QPR, I'd say stay away. I wouldn't want Paul Heckingbottom near my club at all, in my personal opinion. But he's done a fantastic job at other jobs as well. At Sheffield United, he did a good job, obviously, getting them out of the Championship. Maybe I'm being a little bit harsh and stay away, but for me as a QPR fan, I wouldn't really be wanting Paul Heckingbottom as my manager. Now, John Mousinho of Portsmouth, I think, has done an absolutely fantastic job at Portsmouth. I think he's got the best out of certain players on that side. He's utilised the loan market. I don't know if he's the guy who's actually in charge of the transfers, but he's utilised the loan market well, brought in some really good players. Freddie Potts has been a fantastic signing. And as I say, he's got that Portsmouth side playing some very good football, built a really good kind of mentality, and with the whole fan base and connection with the fan base at Portsmouth. And I really like the side they've got. And I have pretty high hopes of Portsmouth next season. Well, not high hopes in terms of players, but I think they'll be comfortably safe from relegation next season, in my opinion, under the guidance of John Mousinho. And by the way, fair play to Portsmouth there, last season, this season, for sticking with John Mousinho, because it was really tough at the start of the season. They obviously had that really difficult fixture and didn't pick up many results at all. And then they got absolutely smashed by Stoke, I think it was, in one game when Tom Cannon scored like 4. Pressure was seriously on him. The board and the people higher up at Portsmouth stuck with John Mousinho, and they've reaped the rewards for that. Because you never know, they could have sacked him, and it could have all gone wrong, and they could have got relegated. So fair play to Portsmouth for sticking with him. John Mousinho, very good manager, done an unbelievable job with that Portsmouth side. Now Gary Rowett, another person that I think has done an unbelievable job at Oxford, but for me, as a QPR fan, it will be very meh if we appointed Gary Rowett. I wouldn't say stay away, because it's all dependent on the situation as well that your football club think. You know, we could be sat in a relegation battle next season, then you think and then Gary Rowett's available, you bring him in. It's a good appointment, you know, because he's a master at, you know, keeping sides up in the Championship and not playing the best football, but he gets the job done. And as a QPR fan, I do want to see at least some decent football. And in terms of Gary Rowett, you're not going to get that. But I guess it depends on the situation of what your side's in before you can properly say that. But Gary Rowett, I'd say, is just a meh appointment. Now, who should we do for Norwich? Shall we do? We'll do Jack Wilshere, because he could actually end up getting the job, to be fair. But Jack Wilshere's an appointment. Oh, we've got a little advert there. I mean, let's just cut this. Back onto it after that little distraction. Right, we've got Norwich, we've got Jack Wilshere. We're going to go meh, because, I mean, I can't say stay away yet. He's not done enough. And to be honest, no, if QPR appointed Jack Wilshere, I'd say stay away. Right now. I mean, he's literally managed like 2 games. Can you blame me? We'll put him in stay away. Maybe that's harsh on... we'll go meh. Because we'll include Torp into that as well, and we'll say meh. We'll combine the two, and we'll put Norwich in meh, because either way... I mean, to be fair, under Torp, Norwich actually played decent football for like about a month, in the month of October, when they had Borja signs firing. They were absolutely cooking and looking like they could actually do something. In that spell, they were ridiculous, but defensively, you just couldn't fix that side in the slightest. Right, so we'll go Millwall next, and Alex Neil. Done a great job at Millwall. And again, I guess it's situation dependent, but to be honest, I've always rated Alex Neil as a manager since he was at Norwich. I've always think he's done a good job. He did a decent job at Preston as well, to be fair. Come in and done a good job at Millwall. He's done a decent job wherever he's been. Alex Neil. So I'd actually be pretty happy with him getting appointed. I prefer Alex Neil to a Gary Rowett. I don't think there's a lot between them in terms of like who I'd prefer at QPR, but I would slightly prefer Alex Neil. So I wouldn't be angry if we had an appointment like Alex Neil. If we're sat in mid-table in the Championship and we're bringing something like that, are you going to get fireworks with him? No. Are you going to get solidity with him? Yes. And consistency in terms of you're not going to be in that much trouble. I think you're pretty fine. He's a safe pair of hands, Alex Neil. So I actually wouldn't be mad having Alex Neil as manager. Now, Michael Carrick. It's a difficult one with Carrick because I actually really like the football that he plays, but just defensively, the way that he set up that Middlesbrough team in terms of even like the transfers they made, like defensively, they didn't make any transfers and the defence wasn't good enough. They needed to address that. I actually think Michael Carrick isn't a bad manager. The football that he plays, like you look at the season where you had Akpom and Archer as well. Like, that was a serious team, and that was at the time when people were saying like Michael Carrick's going to the Premier League. He's got huge potential. Michael Carrick still got that potential. He just needed to fix that Middlesbrough defence, which he failed to do, and he failed to adapt in terms of sorting that defence out. The personnel wasn't the best, yes, but you've got to have a system in place that can make them, that they can, at least you can concede less goals, which Michael Carrick didn't have in the side. It's not like them defenders are absolutely terrible. He's had injuries, of course. He had Johnny Howson playing centre back, but at the end of the day, Middlesbrough should have invested in January in defenders. I said this in January. If you follow my TikTok, I was very vocal about that. If they really wanted to make the playoffs, and I don't think Michael Carrick's a bad manager in the slightest. It may look a bit silly putting him in. Would you be happy with the appointment when Middlesbrough have literally finished? They finished 10th. And they underperformed this season. But I still wouldn't be mad at a Michael Carrick appointment. It's a bit of a risky one in terms of how bad he is defensively. But I think he's a good manager. He just needs to get things right. And he's still working on it. He's still a young manager. Still got time to grow as well. Right, Hull City. We're going to Ruben Stella. Obviously, Ruben Stellas. We're going to put him in. We're going to put him in. I'll be happy with. I think Ruben Stella's done a fantastic job at Hull. If you look at the job that he's come in, the table since Ruben Stellas took over at that job, Hull will be comfortably sat in mid-table, maybe even top half. And without him, Hull will be relegated. I know they kind of stumbled to safety at the end of the season. They only just stayed up on the final. They only just stayed up on goal difference. But at the end of the day, he kept that side up. Now, I don't know what's going on with his future. Obviously, it's up in the air. Hull might be getting rid of him. I don't know what's going on with that. But I think Ruben Sellers is a very good manager. You look at the job that he did at Reading as well. No money, everything against him. The ownership's a joke there. And he was on his way to leading that side to playoffs. If he stayed in charge of Reading, he might have ended up getting playoffs that season with them. He had a real togetherness and he built that. And he even brought out a bit with Hull as well. Hull have definitely been a lot more together and a lot more in the right direction with Ruben Sellers in charge. So for me, I'd be pretty happy if Ruben Sellers got appointed as QPR manager. Now, John Eustace, for me, for Derby County, I'm going to put him in what a gaffer get him in. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I mean, every job he's done, it's been a ridiculous job. And also as well, he has a connection with QPR in terms of he used to be our assistant manager with Mark Warburton. He brought him on board with him as the assistant. So, it wasn't actually Mark, that's a lie actually. It was Steve McLaren at QPR that brought him on as assistant manager. I think John Eustace then stayed as assistant manager under Mark Warburton as well, if I'm correct. But yeah, he was definitely with Steve McLaren. He took over the last couple of games one season for us as well. Away at Sheffield Wednesday, we ended up winning. I was at that game. Absolute scenes at the end of the game when Matt Smith scored. But John Eustace has that kind of connection with QPR in terms of the fact that he's been our assistant. He knows the club. And the jobs that he's done, like you look at the job that he did at Birmingham, unfairly got sacked. Did a decent job in the first season, then got him into the player position, then got sacked, then Birmingham obviously got relegated. Went to Blackburn, kept them up, and then they were predicted to get relegated the next season, or this season, or predicted to be down there fighting relegation. Again, had them in the playoffs. And then you look at Derby, they were about 7 points adrift, looked absolutely down and out at one point, goes and keeps them up. I think he's got the pedigree now in terms of the numerous seasons, as well as the fact that he's so well liked by every single club that he's been to. I mean, at Blackburn it all ended with the snakes and that, but when he was at Blackburn he was so highly thought of there. And at the end of the day, he's a very likeable guy, a very good coach, and his record and his league positions speak for themselves for each club that he's managed. So for me, John Eustace, I'd say what a gaffer, get him in. Coventry City, Frank Lampard, I'm saying stay away. And it's not because of Frank Lampard's managerial abilities. It's because he's plays for Chelsea. I'm a QPR fan. I can't stand him. No, maybe I'm not going to do that. But would I be just based on managerial ability? Would I be happy about Frank Lampard? I'd probably have to say yes. You look at the job that he's done at Coventry this season. What were they like 17th, like a couple of points above relegation, absolutely out of it. and then to go and get him in the playoffs. His record's been ridiculously good. He's built a togetherness at that Coventry City side, which I wouldn't say they lost under Mark Robins, but it was maybe time to part ways looking back on it now, even though it looked like a harsh decision at the time. Frank Lampard's absolutely transformed that football club in terms of how he's done this season. He did lead Derby to the playoffs a few seasons ago, obviously that season where he had Tamori, Mason Mount, Harry Wilson. Arguably should have done better, but it was a very strong championship division. Got him to the playoff final. Probably should have got that side promoted, but at the end of the day, I think Frank Lampard, based on managerial ability, I will be happy with him at QPR. The guy that he played for Chelsea, no, absolutely not. Right, Bristol City, Liam Manning. Oh, we almost clicked the wrong thing. Liam Manning with Bristol City, I would absolutely be happy with him. Fantastic coach. Done a really good job at Bristol City. To get them into the playoffs is a ridiculous achievement. I know that it looks like they're going to get knocked out of the playoffs at the moment, 3-0 down to Sheffield United. They were never expected to win that game realistically, but to get Bristol City into the playoffs, to break the mid-table curse, would be happy with in itself. He could arguably even be in the tier above, to be honest. I mean, I could honestly say that because I really like him as a coach. Got a really good system in place, and again, he's kind of built that togetherness with the Bristol City fans as well. So you can argue maybe even the tier above. I put him right at the top there. He's borderline. Getting him what a gaffer get him in. Genuinely, like I actually think I could do. I actually put him up. I think that's probably fair. If he was not in a job, and QPR had the chance to get him, I'd be absolutely buzzing with the appointment of Liam Manning personally, watching what he's done over his career. And by the way, great job at Oxford is what he did before he even went to Bristol City as well. Blackburn Rovers, Valon Ishmael, it's got to be meh. I actually quite like him as a coach. I mean, at Barnsley, he did an incredible job. He struggled at his jobs since then. At West Brom and Watford as well, he struggled. But he's gone into tough jobs. And overall, I do like the football that he played. Maybe I'm just holding on to the fact that he was such a good manager at Barnsley. But he's turned it around at Blackburn, to be fair. I'm very interested to see how he gets on next season in terms of, even if he gets backed or what happens in the transfer market. I highly doubt he will do. But I'm very interested to see how he gets on. I wouldn't say stay away. I don't think he's absolutely pathetic as what people make out he is. So for me, I really like him as a manager, but it just hasn't worked out in the last few jobs. And I just think very meh if he got appointed as QPR manager. Ipswich, for Kieran McKenna, it's got to be what a gaffer get him in. At the end of the day, the job that he's done, back-to-back promotion with Ipswich is absolutely ridiculous. He did such a good job in League One. They were an incredible side in League One. No one thought they were going to do what they did in the Championship. People thought they'd probably be mid-table, and they ended up finishing second and getting an automatic promotion. Unbelievable achievement. Obviously in the Premier League it hasn't worked out. A step too far for Ipswich. Hasn't worked out in the Premier League at all. They spent a lot of money, but it just shows there's such a big gap between the Championship and the Premier League. I don't think the recruitment's been the best from Ipswich in terms of, Liam Delap was a great signing, but they've made a few signings where I'm a bit like, I'm not so sure. Like Jadon Philogene in January, I'm just not too sure about. Even in the Championship, I'm not too sure. But Kieran McKenna, can't doubt the job that he's done. Back-to-back promotions, fantastic manager, and Ipswich should still have him next season in the Championship. You'd expect if he doesn't move on, but Ipswich should be fine for coming straight back up in my opinion under the guidance of Kieran McKenna. Now Ruud van Nistelrooy, in terms of getting in charge of QPR, I'd say stay well away. I wouldn't want a manager like that. The job that he's done at Leicester has been absolutely terrible, but you've got to look at the resources and the tools and the team that he's got. Then Leicester are never going to stay up. But you can argue that Steve Cooper, he had that Leicester side above the relegation zone. He had him in about 16th, 17th, whatever, when he got sacked. They were going at an okay points per game, but they would have got relegated under Steve Cooper, in my opinion. They probably would have had a few more points, but it's hard to judge Van Nistelrooy properly when the players are just not good enough. The team's not good enough. But I still don't rate Van Nistelrooy as a coach. I think tactically and the way that his team selections have been, I think he's got things wrong at Leicester, to be honest. He's stuck with the wrong players, and he's just not proved enough to me in the Premier League. I know he's got a difficult job, granted, but I'd say for Van Nistelrooy, stay well away from my club. Southampton will go for Norwich and would say stay away. The football that he was playing was absolutely diabolical, wasn't it? Let's be honest, it was absolutely diabolical football. He won like one match. He was absolutely dreadful. And Southampton have actually picked up a couple of points since, is it Rusk or someone in charge and Lallana in charge? They've actually done alright since then. They picked up a point against Man City at the time of recording today. Also picked up a point against West Ham as well. The performances haven't even been that bad. But Southampton and Norwich, I just have to say, stay away. Now, Birmingham City, Chris Davis, fantastic job he's done. Unproven at Championship level. I'd say I'd be happy with him right now. Obviously, I need to see a proper season of him in the Championship and see how he gets on. But there's no denying that job he's done with that Birmingham side. I know everyone will say they should have walked the league. They spent all that money. But at the end of the day, you have to go and do it. And to do it in the emphatic style that he went and did it, it's a ridiculous job. As I say, we need to see him in the Championship and see how he gets on. But the job that he's done at Birmingham is a ridiculous job, and fair play to the guy. Now, Wrexham, Phil Parkinson, I'm sorry, stay away. I don't care if you're going to do I don't care if you've done the back-to-back-to-back. I'm not bothered. To me, Phil Parkinson, I mean, his record in the Championship is absolutely dreadful. He's not been a Championship manager at any point, in my opinion, in his career. And fair play to the job that he's done at Wrexham. But in terms of a job at QPR, I wouldn't want Phil Parkinson anywhere near my club. But what a job he's done at Wrexham. Obviously, they've had the money and they've had a lot of, you all know what's happened with Wrexham. But there's still another job to go out there and actually put it all into action and actually go and get the job done, which he's done 3 seasons in a row. And you look at it from League One, people weren't expecting to go. People were thinking Wrexham were going to drop off. They thought back-to-back-to-back, it's never going to happen. They've proved all the doubters wrong. And fair play to the job that Phil Parkinson's done. But at the Championship level, unproven, terrible record. So for me, that's enough to put Phil Parkinson in, stay away from my club. Dave Challoner, honestly, say we're in trouble and say he's doing it. I think if he gets Stockport promoted again, it's a fantastic job. Again, you can say like, oh, if you can't put Dave Challoner in that and Phil Parkinson in that. But at the end of the day, Phil Parkinson's managing the Championship before. Challoner's done a ridiculous job at Stockport. Again, it's another team that they've spent money, yes, and they do spend money on wages, but they were never expected to be up there at the start of the season, this high up, to actually have a chance of getting promotion. Now, I think they got a good chance against Leyton Orient in the second leg. And as well as that, they also lost their best player. Louis Barry, of course, was on loan for the first half of the season. He went back off loan from he got recalled by Aston Villa. Everyone was like, after that Stockport season done. There's no way they're coming back from this. They've performed better since Louis Barry's gone. And that's a testament to the setup that Dave Challoner's got in place in that Stockport County side. Made them a very difficult side to play against. And I've been very impressed with them overall this season. So Dave Challoner right now, I actually wouldn't even mind being appointed as a QPR manager next season. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, drop a like down below. If you watch this point, please do hit subscribe. We're trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. If you wouldn't mind taking 1 second out to subscribe, it'd be very greatly appreciated. Let me know what you think of this tier list as well, and what you think of my rankings in terms of this. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next one.